They told you this world was all there is. They told you life begins with your first breath and ends with your last. But Edgar Cayce saw something different, something far more unsettling. He spoke of a trap, not a cage made of iron and chains, but one woven of memory and desire. A prison so well disguised that most souls never even realize they're inside it. You've felt it, haven't you? That sense that you've been here before. That déjà vu that pulls at your chest, making you wonder if you're walking through the same corridors of existence you've already crossed 1,000 times. Cayce said this wasn't just imagination. It was the whisper of your own soul remembering. And if you could remember fully, and if you could see past the veil, you would know why you keep coming back. The truth is, this place is not neutral. It's not a playground of free will without consequence. It's a carefully crafted loop, a cycle that lures you back with unfinished stories, unresolved emotions, and invisible contracts you don't recall signing. Think about it. Why are certain people in your life so familiar, as if you've known them forever? Why do some challenges seem to repeat, no matter how much you try to move on? Why do you dream of places you've never visited, yet know them better than your own street? Cayce believed these were not coincidences. They were clues, fragments of the truth that have slipped through the cracks of your programmed forgetfulness. He warned that between lives there is a moment, a choice point, where your soul could finally break free, or step right back into the loop. And here's the dangerous part. The choice doesn't feel like a choice at all. It feels like love. It feels like loyalty. It feels like obligation. You're drawn back to the same people, the same pains, the same karmic debts, not because you must, but because something or someone knows how to pull at your heartstrings. Imagine standing before a vast, luminous portal. Beyond it, a freedom you've never known. And just before you step through, you hear a voice. Someone you love, calling your name, telling you they need you, that you can't leave yet. You turn back, and in that single glance, you forget the portal even exists. You step into another life, another body, another set of trials. Cayce said this is the trap. Not some malicious prison guard with a key, but your own unhealed bonds, your unfinished attachments, the ties of love and guilt, masterfully intertwined so you can't tell them apart. And the strangest part? It works. Because you're good. Because you care. Because your soul wants to heal what's broken. But here's the truth they never told you. You can't heal everyone. You can't save everyone. And until you realize that, you'll keep walking back into the same patterns, lifetime after lifetime. In this life, maybe you've already felt it. That tug of war between wanting to rise and being pulled back by invisible hands. The arguments that repeat. The relationships that feel like they own a piece of your soul. The dreams that call you to something more, yet fade in the noise of obligation. Cayce's warning wasn't meant to frighten you. It was meant to wake you up, to make you see the bars of the prison not as punishment, but as illusions you can choose to walk through. But the question is, will you see them in time? Or will the trap close again before you even know you were inside it? Because the truth is, the cycle doesn't just wait for you to remember. It's designed to keep you forgetting. And once you understand how, everything changes. Cayce described it like a wheel. Not a wheel of progress, but a wheel of return. Spinning so slowly you barely notice it's moving, until you realize you've been walking for miles only to find yourself in the same place. This wheel is fueled by energy, your energy. It feeds on your unresolved emotions, your silent regrets, and the promises you made when you were too blinded by love or guilt to see the bigger picture. Every time you leave this world, you believe you're free. The body falls. Away the pain lifts, and for a brief moment, you remember what you are, vast, luminous, beyond the limits of space and time. But then, they come. Not they, as in monsters or shadows, but familiar faces. Souls you've known for centuries. Some you love deeply, others you've hurt, others who have hurt you, and each of them carries a thread that leads back here. They'll speak of unfinished lessons. They'll remind you of words you said long ago. They'll tell you they need you for just one more life, one more chance to make things right. And your heart, that eternal, boundless heart, says yes. Because how could you turn away from someone you love? How could you leave a wound unhealed? How could you ignore the plea of a soul who says they cannot do it without you? Cayce saw this again and again in his readings. People caught in endless reincarnation, not because they were bad or punished, but because they couldn't release the very bonds that defined them. The trap works because it makes you believe you're doing the noble thing. But here's the twist. The wheel doesn't spin you toward resolution. It spins you toward repetition. Those same bonds, those same souls, they forget too. The promises are remembered in fragments, twisted by fear and ego. The same mistakes are made, the same hurts inflicted. And so the cycle resets. Imagine living the same emotional storm over and over, just in different bodies with different names in different centuries, always thinking this time it will be different, only to find the scenery has changed, but the pain has not. Cayce's message was clear. Until you awaken while you are still inside the game, you cannot step out of it. It's like waking up in the middle of a dream. Suddenly, you see the dream for what it is, and you can choose to leave. But to wake up here in the middle of your life requires something most souls are not ready for. It requires letting go, not in the way people talk about forgive and forget, but in a way that feels almost cruel to your human heart. It means releasing your attachment to how it all should end. It means allowing others to walk their path, even if that path is through fire, without you holding their hand. Because until you stop tying your freedom to someone else's journey, you will keep returning to the same intersection. This is why Cayce said the trap is invisible. It hides inside your virtues, inside your compassion, inside your love. And here's the most unsettling part. Sometimes the voice that calls you back isn't another soul at all. It's your own mind, the part of you that fears the unknown, the part that clings to the familiar even when the familiar is killing you. Think of the habits you can't break, the patterns you swore you'd end, the way you've justified staying in places that drain you, telling yourself I can handle it, or it will get better. That's the same energy that pulls you back into the cycle after death. The mind says, stay where you know the rules. The soul whispers, you were never meant to live by these rules at all. And when those two voices clash, the trap decides for you, unless you learn how to decide for yourself. Cayce said there are signs, not the kind you see with your eyes, but the kind that press against your chest, that whisper in your dreams. The first sign is the repetition of pain. If you notice that the same kind of loss, betrayal, or obstacle keeps showing up, no matter where you go or how you try to change your life, that's not bad luck. That's the wheel turning. The second sign is the magnetic pull to people who both light you up and break you down. These are the soul magnets. You can't explain why you're drawn to them, but you know they have the power to both heal and destroy you. And no matter how many times you walk away, something always pulls you back. The third sign is the dream you can't shake. Cayce said some dreams are not dreams at all. They are memories of other lives, leaking through the cracks of the mind. You wake up with details that make no sense. Streets you've never walked, a language you've never learned, the smell of a fire you've never seen. They are fragments of the lives you've lived in the loop, reminders of the roads you've already traveled. The fourth sign is the feeling that time is folding in on itself. Moments from your childhood feel like they happened yesterday, and yesterday feels like it happened lifetimes ago. It's as if the line of your life is bending, trying to remind you that time here isn't what you think it is, that the beginning and end of a life are just markers on a much longer path. And then there's the fifth sign, the silent sadness. Not depression, not grief, but a deep, unshakable sense that something is missing, something you can't name. You could have everything society tells you to want, and yet, when the noise fades, that emptiness remains. Cayce said this is the soul's memory of freedom. It knows what it's like to be beyond the wheel, and it aches for it. If you felt any of these, it's not random, it's not weakness, it's the signal. But here's the dangerous thing. Once you start noticing the signs, the trap shifts. It tries to convince you you're imagining it. It distracts you with new stories, new relationships, new challenges, all to make you forget the questions you were just starting to ask. It whispers, you're not ready yet. It tells you you have more to learn. It makes you believe that breaking free is selfish, that leaving the wheel means abandoning those you love. And so you stay, not because you want to, but because you're convinced it's the right thing to do. Cayce believed that the moment you recognize these patterns, you stand at the threshold of choice, a choice most souls don't even realize they have. But awareness alone isn't enough. You have to unhook yourself, emotionally, energetically, spiritually, from the anchors that keep you bound to this place. And this is where the real test begins. Because breaking the cycle isn't just about escaping, it's about transforming. It's about walking back into the very situations that once trapped you and responding in a way you never have before. It's about refusing the bait. It's about choosing freedom over familiarity, even when the familiarity feels like love. And there's one truth Cayce repeated over and over. The wheel cannot turn without your consent, but consent is rarely given consciously. It's pulled from you through guilt, fear, longing, and the stories you've told yourself for centuries. To take it back, you must remember who you are before the story began. And to do that, you must see the story for what it is. Cayce warned that the trap isn't built out of walls, it's built out of agreements. Not just the ones you remember making, but the ones you made before you ever took your first breath in this life. Imagine a web made of threads so fine you can't see them, each one tied to a promise, a vow, or a belief you accepted long before you were old enough to question it. Some of those threads were woven by others, some you spun yourself. Every thread is connected to energy. Some are bound to people, a parent, a child, a lover from another life. Some are bound to ideas, that you must suffer to be worthy, that you must earn love through sacrifice, and that you are responsible for fixing what others have broken. Cayce said the wheel turns because you keep renewing these contracts without realizing it. Each time you respond to guilt instead of truth, each time you choose fear over freedom, each time you let the familiar override the unknown. And this is where the mechanics of the trap reveal themselves. First, there's the emotional hook. That moment when someone you love, or think you love, stirs a memory so deep you feel compelled to act. It could be a plea for help, a sudden crisis, or even a simple feeling that you can't leave them now. This hook is how the cycle begins again. Second, there's the illusion of duty, the thought that you owe your soul's freedom to someone else's healing. The trap whispers, you'll be free once they are free, but that day never comes, because it was never meant to. Third, there's the veil of forgetting. Each time you enter a new life, the details fade, but the emotions remain. You might not remember the promise, but you feel the pull, and so you find yourself running toward the same fires, convinced it's your purpose to put them out. The fourth mechanism is time distortion. Cayce said that in the in-between, the space between lives, time doesn't move as it does here. 100 years can pass in the blink of an eye, and so the wounds of your last life still feel raw, the connections still feel urgent. You step back into the wheel thinking it's been only moments since you left. And finally, there's the identity anchor. This is the most dangerous. It's the belief that you are this role, this name, this body, this story. The trap depends on you forgetting that you are not the character, but the one playing it. When all these mechanisms work together, the wheel spins without resistance. You don't feel trapped, you feel engaged, committed, even righteous in your choices, and that's why so few ever question it. But Cayce insisted that the moment you see these mechanics for what they are, something cracks. It doesn't break the whole wheel at once, but it creates a weakness in the design, a place where the light of truth can get in. And when the light gets in, you start to notice the patterns earlier. The hook doesn't grip as deep, the duty feels less convincing, the forgetting begins to fade. It's not freedom yet, but it's the first step, because now, when you're presented with the same choice, the same voice calling you back, you might just pause long enough to ask, is this truly my path, or just the path I've walked 100 times before? Cayce believed that if you could hold that question long enough, the wheel would begin to slow. And once it slows, you can step off. Cayce didn't just expose the trap, he offered a way out. But it was never about escape in the physical sense. It was about dissolving the bonds, so that, when the moment of choice arrives, the wheel has nothing left to pull you back with. The first step, he said, was recognition. You cannot break a contract you refuse to admit exists. This means seeing your patterns without judgment, tracing them back through the corridors of your life and realizing they are echoes of lives before this one. It means facing the uncomfortable truth. You've been here before and not by accident. The second step is neutralizing the hook. When someone pulls at your guilt, your fear, or your longing, pause. Ask yourself, if I were free, would I still choose this? This question is dangerous to the trap because it shifts your focus from obligation to choice. The third step is closing the portal of repetition. Cayce spoke of moments in life where you are presented with the same challenge you've faced before. If you react the same way, you renew the contract. If you respond differently, with awareness, with boundaries, with detachment, the thread begins to fray. One frayed thread at a time, the web weakens. The fourth step is reclaiming your identity. This means remembering again and again that you are not the name you've been given, not the role you've been assigned, not the story others tell about you. You are the one who has lived hundreds of these stories, and you can choose to write a new ending. And finally, the most radical step, letting go with love. Cayce knew this was the hardest part. To release someone from your karmic bond is not to abandon them. It is to trust their soul as much as you trust your own. It is to stand at the edge of the portal, hear them call your name, and keep walking into the light anyway. Because freedom doesn't mean you stop loving them. It means you love them enough to let them walk their own path, and you love yourself enough to walk yours. This is where the trap begins to lose its power. It cannot hold someone who no longer responds to its bait. It cannot keep someone who remembers who they are. Cayce warned that when you begin this work, the trap will test you. Old wounds will resurface. Voices from your past will return. Situations you thought were resolved will appear again, as if to ask, "Are you sure?" And this is where most souls falter, mistaking these tests for signs they've failed. But in truth, these are signs you're getting closer. The wheel spins fastest just before it loses its momentum. The key is to stand still while it turns, to watch the hooks fly past without reaching for them, to feel the pull and still choose the quiet center over the storm. Cayce said there's a moment, for every soul, when the light of recognition is so strong, the cords simply dissolve. You don't force it. You don't beg for it. You simply see the truth so clearly that the illusion can't survive it. And when that happens, the wheel stops. Not for everyone, but for you. You step into a space that feels both strange and familiar. The air is lighter. The silence is alive. And for the first time in lifetimes, you realize you're free. But the question is, if you were standing there now, would you recognize it? Or would you turn back, thinking there was still something left to fix? Cayce said that true freedom isn't loud. It doesn't arrive with trumpets, fireworks, or a sudden rush of euphoria. It's subtle, almost quiet. It feels like a long exhale you didn't know you'd been holding for lifetimes. But here's the paradox. Freedom can feel unsettling at first. When you step off the wheel, there is no familiar pattern to hold on to, no drama to keep you occupied, no unfinished business whispering in your ear at night. For many souls, that emptiness is unbearable. It feels too quiet, too open, and so they return. Not because the trap forced them back, but because the comfort of chaos was easier than the stillness of truth. This is why Cayce spoke about preparation. He said, you must begin to love the stillness now, to sit with it before you are faced with the choice. Learn to find beauty in the space between thoughts. Learn to trust the silence that has no conditions. Because if you can be at peace here, you can be at peace anywhere. He also warned that when you break the cycle, you may still see those you love walking in it. You may want to reach back in to pull them out, but that's not your work anymore. Your work is to be the proof, the living reminder that there is a way beyond the wheel. And that's how you truly help them. Not by sacrificing your freedom for theirs, but by showing them what freedom looks like. Cayce believed that once you're free, you don't vanish into some unreachable realm. You expand. You become part of a higher pattern, one that can guide others without binding yourself to their storms. You can still walk beside them, but you no longer need to walk through their fire. And maybe that's the greatest act of love. He left us with an image, a doorway wide open, bathed in golden light. On one side, the endless turning of the wheel, familiar faces, familiar pains, familiar lessons. On the other side, an expanse so vast you can't see where it ends. Every soul stands at that doorway one day. The question is never if, it's when. And when that day comes for you, will you hear the voices calling you back and take their hand? Or will you step forward into the light and finally remember that you were never meant to stay here? Because the trap is only a trap if you forget that the key has always been in your hand. So tell me, if the doorway appeared before you tonight, would you walk through?